Hey there. Hey, Brandon.
Hey,
You there?
I am here.
That was cool. Earlier today I was saying we should meet up at the one place to support the show.
What place is that?
That's at shopsketchcraft.com. I almost always curse every time I plug this website, shopsketchcraft.com.
It just rolls off the tongue so easily, right?
Slop.
Yes. Sure.
You know what also rolls off the tongue?
Money.
It's a trick question, Brandon.
If you got a little extra,
Huh?
you go to shopsketchcraft.com.
All these slick ass prints.
All these super sketches.
So sketchy at shopsketchcraft.com. Oh, so sketchy. But the prices are legit. So let's take a look around. What do we got here? We got the Star Wars gaming print. That's always popular.
Ooh.
Hey, everyone loves the new Star Wars movies, right? If you're
For
a
the
big
most
fan
part.
if you're a big fan of Kathleen Kennedy and J.J. Abrams and George Lucas, I got the print for you.
There we go.
I am, but there's some people. Oh, you know what's also on this print? The Star Wars
What's that?
arcade cabinet that Arcade 1-Up is off.
Ooh.
And I did not know when I made this that just a few years later I would own this freaking thing because I pre-ordered it.
It was fate. Fate.
Do you know how I was able to pre-order that?
Because people bought stuff off shopsketchcraft.com. I can't even say
So yeah, also is this Saucy Turtles print. Now I'm gonna bring this one up because Brandon actually owns the real version. This right here, this Raphael.
I do.
Brandon knows that. He owns it. Correct?
I own it in my mini shopsketchcraft.com shrine that I have going on. I hate to admit it. At one point I was addicted to shopping on shopsketchcraft.com.
I've jinxed you. Now you can't say it.
You jinxed me. If just so everyone knows, if you buy something on this website, it goes towards me learning how to talk. So just so you know, if you give a little, it goes a long way because apparently I can't talk tonight. It's pretty bad.
And look, honestly, folks, the reason why we do this is because I want your mullahs. And YouTube ain't paying me. They don't even let you know when there's new videos.
Not at all.
So this is the only shot I have at either saving. It took me 4 years to save about $500 worth of shopsketchcraft.com money, folks. Look, I only have 165 sales. It's not much. I actually have more favorites, I think, than sales. But what we do have are 5-star reviews. Everyone is happy with their shopsketchcraft.com that purchases, whether they buy real art prints, all that stuff. Everyone's happy. I go out of my way. I personally pack these, Brandon. I pack them.
You do. Yeah, I've seen it in your front room, on your couch. Everything's very nicely done on the tables.
So that's it, Brandon. That's all we got. Just let everyone know, where can you support the show?
Please go to shopsketchcraft.com.
He did it. He said it. All right, everybody. On to the show. SketchCraft Megashow.
It's time for the Mega Show, baby. You know what's up. You're getting all that good, hot, fun, mega stuff.
Hot, fun, mega stuff.
Hot, fun, mega stuff.
Wow.
I was thinking about food.
Yeah,
I don't know what you bots were thinking
15
about.
seconds. We've already derailed the show.
I
Congratulations.
was thinking about some hot, sweaty food, some good, delicious cheeseburgers that fuel me and my rage to talk to Rob and entertain all of you with this mega awesomeness.
Tater thoughts. Our intros are so informative, Brandon. Like, I learned so much.
We give it to you good. You know what you're gonna get. You're getting it hot.
Oh no!
From the tater.
From the tater to your from the taters to the players. Ooh, Mega Show, Mega Show. SketchCraft.
That's how we do it on the Mega Show.
We got to say this 7 times so people remember the name of the show. SketchCraft.
Hey, it's the Mega Show.
Mega Show is about to start. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Sketch Cave and another SketchCraft Mega Show. Joining me as always is Brendan Mega Potato James. How you doing, dude?
Hello everybody.
Go ahead.
Usually, because it caught me off guard here, usually you say joining in. Now it's always on. So I feel kind of honored. I feel like I have a lifetime pass on the show until you threaten to kick me off. So
this is also the last episode Brandon will be on, so I can prove you wrong. You know, SketchCraft giveth and SketchCraft taketh away, Brandon. That's just how it works around here.
I don't get too excited. I should have.
In all the years I've known you, have I ever directly even called you a friend? Like
never, not once.
Right?
I think once you called me an acquaintance.
Barely.
Mm-hmm.
I've equated me of yourself. I don't know. You know what I mean? You're equated to. There's a way to use that word that I'm not smart enough to do. So anyway, SketchCraft Mega Show. I want everyone to know this is our 1, 2, 3, like third or fourth time recording this thing.
Yes.
With as every bit of enthusiasm as the last 15 times.
Woo-hoo! Yeah.
Here comes the tater train. Everyone hop on.
Choo-choo.
Now you know I got to make a tater train, right?
Yes.
We got to sell that at the shopsketchcraft.com. So,
that's right.
So I don't know what happened between not doing podcasts regularly or something. I installed this thing called Voice Meter not too long ago to try and like get all nifty with the podcast, where I could control you on a channel and Andy on a channel and the sound effects on the channel and the soundboard on a channel. And what it did is it just fucked up all the fucking sound on my computer. So we couldn't. Not only like the last time we did it, no one's ever gonna hear this, but so you know, my voice was over the bar. And you were not just below it, like just barely audible, but also double voiced.
Yes.
And there was white noise everywhere. And I'm like, what, guy, what, yeah. You know, like, I just look around the room, like, really? I got to let Brandon know we got to do this again. So here we are.
Yeah, it was, I think we done it twice with Andy, and we lost him for the third time. So the third time he couldn't make it on. And then this is our fourth time recording this, so soon it's just gonna be Rob.
I think Andy just thinks like we're tricking him into talking to us for like 2 hours about games and never publishing that.
Right. We just enjoyed his company.
So what do we do here at the Mega Show? I want you to know we're not a news outlet. We don't care. I'm a full-time artist, and Brandon's a tater. So
I dabble.
He dabbles. We just talk about all the stuff that we would normally talk about on the phone here, because it's wasted. I mean, I know I'm right, and Brandon knows he's right. So, you know, what are we doing this for? We got to let you know that we're right about everything. I think this is just a way to get out of the whole, Rob, what do you think about this? And I can just point them to a podcast and be like, it's there on the Mega Show.
Right.
Funny part about the Mega Show, I called it the Mega Show because Brandon's nickname is Mega Potato. But over the last year or so, I started doing a podcast with Megavisions called the Megavision Show. And people are like, there's a lot of megas in your life, bro. You know what I mean? Like, is the Mega Show tied into Megavisions? And I'm like, damn it. I probably should have called it the SketchCraft Super Show. But I mean,
SketchCraft Alpha Show?
SketchCraft Bottom Show? Bottom, topper? But which one are you, Brandon?
I'm a power bottom.
The power bottom hour, right?
There we go.
People are just like, this is not what I signed up for. So, so we're just gonna talk about geek-related stuff, comics, movies, whatever we've been complaining about to ourselves. No, whatever we've been talking about for the last couple of weeks. Chances are you already know stuff. So let's just get on to it. Brandon, you're in charge of the board, so why don't you bring up what's our first thing?
Speaking of hurt bottoms, Rob Liefeld is very cranky lately. He is no longer in control over Youngblood, the comic that
What is Youngblood?
Youngblood is a comic book he created in, I'm going to say this year because I'm probably going to get it wrong, but I'm going to go with 92,
Sorry.
93. I know you know the
July
dates.
of 1992 is when Image first published Youngblood, which was the first book at Image Comics.
Ooh, I was close. Okay. So it was basically like his teenage superhero book, like he does shoulder pads, big buff guys, rockets, guns, all that. And for many years, it was one of his babies, just like Deadpool, Cable, X-Force, Supreme, all these other things. But in the year 2000, he split control with him and two other people. And then
Let me see if that story's true because I'm confused about. So in the Liefeld explained that. So basically, Liefeld left Image, I think, before they could kick him out. It was like a Nixon thing. It was a big deal.
Right. I'll leave before you fire me. I quit.
By in like '97, I want to say, and then he formed this other company called Awesome Comics. I think the time he was doing Maximum Press, which they skipped over in this story. I'm funny he didn't mention that. And then he went right to he formed Awesome Comics with investment partners Scott Rosenberg and John Hyde. Each of the three would have rights over 8 of the company's 24 distinct properties to exploit in other media, with Liefeld maintaining publishing rights over the characters he created, which meant he could still make comics.
Right.
That changed in 2018 when Rosenberg told Liefeld that he partnered with a new party, a man named Andrew Rev, to finance Youngblood comics and toys. Liefeld says he was stunned but not surprised. These are the most important assets that Scott. So I guess Scott got the rights to Youngblood.
Right.
That whole deal. And he needed to raise funds, and so basically, Liefeld doesn't own Youngblood.
Right.
Hasn't since around 2000. What was that? 98 or 99? 2000.
Something like that.
Yeah. I'm fuzzy on the numbers.
What kills me is if you and I've pissed Rob Liefeld off, and I might as well say it. So I'll get back to this. One time before a con, and right before Deadpool 1 came out, me and Rob were joking about giving credit to the original writers that made Deadpool the character that it is, the funniness. Fabian Nasia. I always mess up his name. I always mess up the name, and I apologize. But
really, it's Joe Kelly that added the
right, and Joe Kelly and them. And I said, they should get credit for making Deadpool the funny character because when he first came out, he was more of a serious mercenary.
Yeah, Ninja Spider-Man.
Rob Liefeld saw that on Instagram and bashed the hell out of me. And then the next morning, come to find out, he was sitting directly behind us at a con. Yeah. Like literally, his tables were behind me and Rob. And he didn't even know it was me because he doesn't pay attention to anybody when he's bashing. And he was just like, "Hey, how's it going?" to me and Rob. And I'm just like, Rob, he just bashed the shit out of me last night. And now he's just like, "Hey, how's it going?" He has no idea who we are or who I am. Obviously, he doesn't care. So
I want people to know, I'm not a Liefeld hater.
You're a big fan.
Yeah. So, but the thing is Liefeld's like, how do I say this? He's like that uncle you love, but is always going to come with some trouble. Like, it's never going to go smoothly. There's always some asterisks, some little trickery up his sleeve, some little, he would be like, he'd put out a bunch of books, right? The first couple years of Image. And it would say Rob Liefeld on the art. But Rob Liefeld, clearly you could look at the art and go, this is either Merritt Michaels or Dan Fraga.
Yeah.
And no one explained this to me. That's just, if you followed the books, you knew that he had these. Liefeld would have breakdowns, and he'd have either Merritt Michaels or Dan Fraga finish up the pencils, and they had clearly different art styles.
Oh, very.
Fraga tended to lean on kind of like a McFarlane cartoony thing.
Yes.
And Merritt did his own version of Liefeld, but it was clearly not. I don't know, man. It didn't work for Rob. I think the best Liefeld-esque artist that they had at that place prior to Stephen Platt was it was just in my head. Chap Chapyape. I wish Brandon was here to type this in. So I have to do all this stuff so I can show you. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Chap's art. I'm going to bring this up really quick. So this is like chap stuff. Like out of that whole like LA style
Yeah.
Liefeld Extreme, like I always thought he did like the best. Look, this isn't realistic anatomy, folks. I hate when people go, "Yeah, anatomy not realistic." Like I get it. It was almost like tattoo art in a way, which is
Hmm.
why they always make great tattoos. And then eventually Roger Cruz came over and did his little like, you know, Majorera thing, but it was well
Yeah,
done. It
yeah.
was well done. Him and Todd Knock, I think, managed to make action figures out of these. With Stephen Platt being like the greatest version of that tattoo look ever. I'm a big fan of it. Anyhow, the thing about Youngblood was, one, it was look the whole thing about Image, Brandon. For me, I could tell you it was about this and try to speak for everybody, but I'm going to speak for me. Okay.
Okay.
So for me, Image was about a bunch of guys being really successful at another company and not seeing the financial reward for those efforts. And so they launched their own company to see a financial return for their efforts. So if they sold 1 million copies, they would see the financial return for those those copies.
Right.
This is nothing new. Like actors get points on movies, probably. You know what I mean? Residuals to some extent. Musicians are probably the closest thing to that. Like they want to get their money. Like everyone got this, but when it came to comics, I was like, why should the artists? They got paid. They shouldn't get nothing. We're like one of the few countries in the entire world when it comes to comics that does this, where a company owns everything that the creators make and they never get shit back. Like,
Right.
like the creator of Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, when when they make an anime, she gets money from that, from all the merchandise that they do well. But in this
Yeah.
country, you don't own shit. The American way of the corporation owns everything, you get nothing, and you're lucky if you get credit. So
Right. Art
Image
is a hobby.
Image was one part about that 100% creator-owned rights, and I got into that before Image with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That was like the thing that got me into. Two guys made this comic, and wow, they get all this money from it being successful. Likewise, if
Right.
it tanks, they eat the cost too. So that's that's the way it goes. Technically, one might call that capitalism, Brandon. Like healthy capitalism, not like the unhealthy robber
Right.
baronism that we consider today. So it was about that, and also I want to because this is relevant to another topic. It was also for me about defying the status quo. So the status quo at the time was still like positive, bubbly superheroes, with the exception being the Watchmen and the Dark Knight Returns, which started that grim and gritty. Are you
Uh,
familiar with the term grim and gritty?
a little bit, yes.
Right? Everyone equates the 90s with grim and gritty. That's when superheroes got grim and gritty and they would kill people and ooh, they had sex. Oh, that just wasn't really about comics. That just it wasn't really about the characters. It was just about all this, defying tropes and it went nowhere. Uh, so you know why I find that funny, right?
Why, Rob?
Because the show just came out recently called The Boys. And it's getting praised, Brandon, for being 100% original. And you know what it does? It makes superheroes super celebrities. And guess what, Brandon? They have sex. Guess what, Brandon? They murder. And people are afraid of them. And they have their own TV shows and residuals and action figures. And guess what Youngblood was all about?
What was it all about?
What I just said. Just loop back what I just said and repeat that. And no one's brought this up. Like what Garth Ennis wrote The Boys before. Yeah, but Youngblood and Spawn and it's Savage Dragon was already doing all that.
Yeah.
They did all that. And they did that not because they were trying to be edgy, but because they were trying to do stuff that they could never do under the Comics Code, which they were still bound by over at Marvel. So the minute they got out from under the Comics Code, they made these ultra-violent comic books based around superheroes being celebrities. And people were afraid of them, and they worshipped them. And that's what Youngblood and Spawn and Savage Dragon and Wildcats, all that shit was about.
Yeah.
Now, was it as well written or tied? No, but I really believe that they paved the way for people to take those themes and then, repackage them. And again, yet another more refined version of it. And if you want an analogy to that, go look at the first Spider-Man movie and how it's got jokes and it's a little corny and it's got some techno suits, But it does some right, does some wrong. But if you look at the MCU, what do you get? Right, the refined version of that.
Right.
Am I right or am I right?
Oh, you're right.
So thank you, Brandon. Thank you. So Youngblood really paved the way and set the tone for the boys and anything like this. Like The Watchmen, Dark Knight Returns did the same thing. So this was like, and something else about those Image comics. People like to harp on the anatomy and everything. They were action. They were designed to be action figures. Every one of
Oh
these
yeah,
Youngblood
over
characters.
the top,
Yeah.
just
Let's look at
fun,
these.
wild.
These Youngblood designs ain't no crazier. Look at that. I tried to look at this and it jumped me to some weird. Okay, let me see if I can go to open image. See if I can. These designs right here. Wow, look, it's zoomed way the fuck out. These designs over all this stuff are right for. There ain't no different than GI Joes and He Mans. You could
Right.
tell these are guys that grew up with that shit. You know, and Micronauts and all that stuff. And so they were just keeping an eye, not for realism in terms of the costumes being realistic. They were keeping an eye for, oh, this would look good as a statue. This would look good as a toy. And guess what? When McFarlane started making his own toys, they looked amazing as toys.
Oh, they were glorious.
Now, where am I going with all this? To the story of Liefeld and Youngblood. Where's the asterisk? Here's the asterisk. Youngblood was incredibly successful. Right out the gate financially. Set Extreme Studios up for everything. It was the first book to also fall because of Liefeld shenanigans with poaching talent. The fact that he sold the rights to the book that founded the company that's all about creator-owned rights is the ultimate. There's no bigger Galactus-sized asterisk than that, right?
Yeah. And I don't think it's so weird because I swear up until this new news of it, he was posting things about it. Like it was another one of his childs, one of his, like Deadpool, he obviously shows you he makes Deadpool and he made Deadpool, but he was posting Youngblood stuff. I swore I saw it. And then now I don't see any of it. And then I was like, what happened? And then I hear about this. It was like he literally, like a casino dealer, just wiped his hands clean of it and stepped back and was like, all right, I'm out.
I literally started a little sketchy series of the characters. I was going to do all the characters. Die Hard, I got Shaft, here's Prophet, and giving them that action figure like anatomy and those little bits, minus the cross hatching because I don't need to do that. And I was going to do like all those characters and do Wildcats. And now I'm like, fudge.
Yeah.
What's it for, Brandon? What's it for?
I'd still like to see Grifter, but
Wildcats is different, right? So even though, but look at Wildcats. Wildcats is owned by DC. So it's just like, but that was his right. It's their right to sell off their rights.
Yeah.
So weird, dude.
It's just, I would.
Okay, hold on.
Hold on to it.
Let me go back. Right now, I could put on my Oculus Quest, my Oculus Time Quest. If I put on my Oculus Time Quest and I'm able to transport myself back to 1992 Comic-Con. San Diego Comic-Con, looking at that image booth, and I was able to go, "Hey, Rob," and Rob would look up at me and clearly see an older version of me because I literally look like myself in high school plus a beard. That's what happens when you don't drink heavily. So, when you stay out the sun and don't lift furniture for a living. But the sun's a killer, right, Brandon?
Yeah.
So I would look down and go, "You see that guy? Liefeld with the Youngblood?" And Rob would go, "Yeah." I'm like, he ain't gonna sell the rights off. And really, in 1999 or 2000, whenever that shit started off, I think because I think I bought Awesome Comics. Brendan, you go look it up. When did Awesome Comics officially launch? It might have been in '98 because Kaboom came out. I remember he did the Super Patriot comics, and that was awesome, and that was out during '98 when I was in basic, right? So it might have been launched in '98.
Awesome was launched in 1992 as part of a comic book revolution when the 7 top-selling Marvel artists made headlines.
No, that's not it. Awesome Comics, Rob Liefeld. Go look that up.
Studio Awesome. Wait. There you go. Formed in 1997. 1997. Founded 1997.
Okay.
The predecessor was Extreme Studios. The founders were Rob Liefeld and Jeff Loeb.
So did Awesome Comics come out before Maximum? Do I have that wrong? What's the order? Because I'm fuzzy on this.
Extreme, and then Awesome.
And then Maximum?
Okay. Extreme.
Does it even mention Maximum? Did they delete it?
You're going too fast. It's all here. Extreme Studios Maximum Press. Let's see. Yeah. Of course, I'm like trying to speed read here. In '92, you had
No, it's not
Extreme
92.
Studios.
Yeah, see, Maximum Press is kind of deleted. You can only go through. Okay, so I know the books. Give me a second. Brandon, you talk while I dig some stuff up.
Okay. Oh, and just to go back to my Rob Liefeld story, he had no idea who we were, and me and Rob went and saw Deadpool that night that it opened. I believe it was Valentine's weekend, which was, a little weird, but me and Rob went to go see it, loved it, and was able to talk to him the next day, like, hey man, loved the movie, thought it was great. He still had no idea who I was or the shit talking he did to me the night before. But like he still is so proud of owning the whole Deadpool creative thing. So when I saw something like that where he's like, I love Youngblood, we're gonna put out a show, and then all of a sudden he's like, I'm stepping away from all that, it just really caught me by surprise because he seemed like an artist who really wants you to know what he's made, like really to a point where you're just like, all right man, I get it, that was your jam. And hey, I'll never probably have that experience where I could be like, yeah, I put out that #1 hit song or I put out that #1 book, and I can't hold on to it. But I can't say for sure I wouldn't act the same way. Because I mean, if I create something that makes me very wealthy and provides for my family like that, I'd probably be like, yeah, this is me. I'd wear shirts, hats, socks, underwear, maybe even a life-size statue like he has. So
Yeah, I don't. I might have deleted the Maximum book. I have Super Patriot line around here somewhere. I keep that around, but I don't have it
yeah.
on hand. So I guess I'm gonna assume Maximum Press came out after, because that's when he did that Battlestar Galactica book.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever. Whatever. We don't really talk about Maximum. Anyhow, oh, Maximum Press 96 to 98. So yeah, so he did Maximum first and then Awesome. I'm right. Yeah. Yep. Maximum was 96, 98. Awesome was really 99 to 2000. And then Arcade was the one that came after. Remember Arcade Comics?
No, I don't remember that one.
Yeah, of course. So, yeah, the Arcade Comics didn't last too long. What did he publish under Arcade? The Youngblood reboot, Genesis. And
Mm-hmm.
then he did Nitrogen. What was Nitrogen? I love the name, right? Nitrogen.
It's just like an extreme energy drink type stuff,
Nitrogen Extreme Forces. He should call his next book. Remember, he posted some picture of him saying he was back in the lab. He should just
Oh
call it
yeah.
Extreme Force.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Extreme Force. Yeah,
Extremely young force. No, that sounds
this is
bad.
nitrogen. Hold on. This don't do that, Brandon.
I
This
didn't mean
is
to.
nitrogen. I guess it was like Prophet and Crypt. Yeah.
I
Look
was
at
trying to
that.
blend the name of his books together, like X Force,
Yeah,
Youngblood.
these
It
days it's
didn't come
not
out
fun.
right.
No, it didn't. You just
It did not come
apologize
out
before the
right.
internet.
I
It just
apologize, Internet. I
works.
meant nothing by it, nor do I condone that type of talk or actions
Yeah, you're in the
upon
wrong
anyone.
climate, Brandon, for that. Yeah, wrong climate.
I was trying to convert the names. We do this stuff live. We don't think it out. I just speak as words come to my brain.
It sounds a lot like when you talk on the phone, though.
Oh yeah, that's true. I don't put much thought into me talking to you, Rob. I just kind of go with it.
And it's funny because I put you in charge of planning the shows. So, who's
Ready
worse,
for the
the
next
fool,
topic?
the fool, or the fool who follows him? Let's follow Brandon to the next topic. Ooh, look, like that segue.
I do.
It's
Let's
pretty
just
good.
keep going with the whole image thing and put a big congratulations to Spawn, which will be reaching issue 300 this September 4th.
Wow.
Issue 300. Like,
Coffin Bound. I'm not familiar with this site. Issue 300. Yeah, look at that Greg Capullo cover. Oh, that's dope. So Capullo's drawing interiors,
mhm.
not the whole thing, part of it, and then that's cool. That's fucking dope. Scott Campbell's gonna do some interiors as well as a cover, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And it looks like more of older J. Scott Campbell art, not as I want to say some of his stuff's a little bit, his newer stuff's a little more angular, where the ankles are a little too skinny and stuff. But this looks more fleshed out, thicker characters, just real gritty, cool feel. It reminds me kind of Gen 13 stuff.
Right. I'm going to try to bring it up really quick
Hmm.
because he posted some pictures. Go ahead and talk
Yeah,
more about Spawn 300. What's going on?
he posted a whole bunch of things, and he's got a lot of variants coming out. I won't buy the single issues, but once they put out maybe a collective book of the 300, some kind of thing with all the covers, I'm all for it. J. Scott Campbell did a cover. Greg Capullo did a killer Medieval Knight cover, which I really love. An artist I really like, and I'm bad
Hold
with
on,
names.
here I got it. Hold on. So here's some of the J. Scott Campbell pencils. If you can kind of see that,
Hmm.
folks, how dope it looks. That, yeah, it's definitely got that. I want to say cliffhanger, more of his cliffhanger style in it.
Hmm.
You could see some of the inks that Todd's working on. So funny thing about these inks, best I can do, folks, um, is he said that this paper's super slick, so he has to ink the whole thing with this micron that has a plastic tip. And I'm like, did someone not tell Todd that he can just reprint that stuff out? You know, he can scan the pencils and just print them back out.
Print it out on
So
some
yeah,
less, something with a little tooth to it, some Bristol or something.
yeah. So I don't know, man. You know, like I'm not one. And these are some of the inks he showed off today of Capullo's interiors, which was dope. Spawn looking like a walking corpse.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I could drop some information for Todd if you want. I could let
that
him
looks
know.
dope. Um,
That'll go over really well. Kind of like me
that's
talking
awesome.
to Liefeld. It always goes well when I try to talk to these big name artists.
Right. So who else is going to be producing art for
Uh,
this?
and I'm bad with names, but Jerome Opena.
Okay.
He did a bunch of X Force stuff for Marvel, which was really cool. So he's got a whole collection of the characters there. Um, this guy, I don't know a lot of his art, but Jason Sean Alexander,
Well, I can
he's
hold on.
got
I can show the Opena cover.
okay,
It's like got like that whole like Avengers Age of Ultron where they're jumping.
right,
Yeah. So that looks cool.
yeah, and then you got the Jason Sean Alex one, who has kind of like a Ashley Wood, painted gritty style to it,
Oh, I
where
got
you
that.
know
Here it is.
a
Let's
lot of
see.
heavy stuff. So
Yeah. This
really
one
dig
right here. It's
that.
got a little bit of also Sam Keith, maybe
Hmm.
Sienkiewicz, or somewhere between Keith and Jay Lee. Remember Jay Lee?
Yeah.
Hellshock. Yeah, that's dope.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he has that whole painter's look, kind of like Gabriel Delato that I like. But yeah, it's
Oh, check
really
this out.
cool.
Todd posted this. See you at Comic Con, and this is
Uh
the
huh.
Wizard San Diego Comic Con 1982, 91, was it 92 edition,
Uh
right?
huh.
And guess who was there, Brandon?
Who was there, Rob?
I was there. Here's my copy. I keep it. Here it is, right here. There it is, the San Diego Comic Con Collector's Edition for issue 1.
You fucking nerd.
I bought it there. Yep, I bought it at Con back in the day, and I keep it right here to remind me of why I put up with Brandon's shit. No,
That's right.
why? You know when I go, why the hell am I doing this? I look over. Oh yeah.
That's why.
So
While we're on Todd
91.
McFarlane and
Sorry,
his page
91
here,
Comic Con. My bad.
can you pull up that new Batman Todd McFarlane statue that they debuted at
Yeah.
San Diego Comic Con 2019?
So at Comic Con this year, Brandon, tell them what they did.
They unveiled this very badass cover statue that Todd did years and years ago. I think it was issue 423, where Batman's kind of like draping his cape over someone to protect her. But they made a statue out of it with all those cool lines
Here it
and
is.
sharp angles and everything.
Yeah.
It looks so beautiful.
It's based off his Batman Year 2 cover, and he did
Hmm.
like a version of Spawn and Wanda not a while back. But yeah, there's that. This one I actually saw that in the comic stores, and I couldn't convince my mom to buy me it, but I didn't know who that was. That wasn't the first time I saw Todd's art, but that was the first time I ever saw that art. And I was like, I know that guy. He drew that cover. It was the one where Spider-Man punches the Hulk in the orbit, and like he's punching him through the logo. And that
Uh-huh.
was the first time I ever saw Todd's art. My friend had it. And here's Todd posing with the life-size version of that statue. How cool is that?
That's just badass.
Now Todd needs to make the same thing with Spawn
Mm-hmm.
and then carry that around to every convention.
Just bring it in.
Uh-huh. See what
That'd be
gives.
cool to see and take pictures with.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome. I'm gonna own this. Yeah,
I'm gonna look at you own this.
I'm getting this one.
The best way for Rob to own that, people, is for you to shop at shopsketchcraft.com.
ShopSketchCraft.com. It's not hard to say. It's not hard to say, Brandon. I don't have a problem with it.
I do. Too many S's in the show. Spawn, Sketch, Sketchcraft, Shop, Salisbury Steak.
Yeah, Todd takes over the DC toys starting January.
Ooh, that's going to be cool.
How great is that?
Oh, yeah.
Spawn
Take my
logo,
money.
The Spawn logo is going to be on every DC toy, and Liefeld doesn't own Youngblood, and Wildcats is owned by DC. Huh. It's a little bit of a loop going on there. What if
Right?
DC
Full circle.
bought out the two guys' shares and DC owned all the Youngblood stuff?
I would get a Youngblood figurine. I had the toys when I was younger.
Right.
I mean, you know, me and you have a little bit of age difference. I think it's about 6 years. So when you probably had the action figures compared to when I had them, I was playing with them in the shower kind of thing where I was like, yeah.
I was still playing with them in the shower. You know, it was like rainy scene, you know, my girlfriend was like, what are you doing? It's raining. Yeah. It's heavily raining. Can't rain all the time. And just quoting all the Gothic movies. Just putting all my Stone Temple Pilots on loop.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I love the figurines. I had Medieval Spawn toy. I had all those. So, you know, I'm all for him getting more licenses and more toys because he does them well. Let's move on to another topic, and let's just keep it Batman since Batman's the last thing we said. The new movie, The Batman, lands the, I'm going to mess this up like I do every time, cinematographer Greg Fraser.
Also known as director of photography, cinematographer, Greg Fraser.
Yes.
Greg Fraser is the guy who did the cinematography for Star Wars Rogue One.
Ooh, it was beautiful. Yeah. Oh, it was so beautiful.
And Foxcatcher. And what else did he do? Did he do Let Me In, or he did Zero Dark 30?
No, he did Let Me In. He did Let Me In, the vampire movie.
Yeah, Matt Reeves directed that, right? Didn't he?
Yeah, that was the first time they worked together. Yeah. Him and Matt Reeves. He, you know, with Rogue One, he made you feel like you were on that beach. You know, stuff's flying, things are going on. It had such a grit and texture, and the color palettes, everything was so beautiful, the look of that movie. So I imagine he's going to make Gotham City feel dirty and grimy, and you're going to feel like you're hopefully in those alleyways, those streets, on top of the buildings. He's going to give it that, for lack of a better term, scope, I guess, is how I felt. Like when in Rogue One.
Pfister had that with The Dark Knight, you know, those light. Mm-hmm. I just wonder what would be cool is if you get that scope with a more comic booky looking universe, you know, because Star Wars is, you know, it's a genre-based universe.
Right.
So that was awesome to see things like control panels and computer tech and spaceships lit in that way, you know, as opposed to just glass steel buildings in Chicago.
Yeah.
You know, which we've all seen. So one hopes that this movie will have a Gothic tone to its visual stylings. I think they're shooting it out in London, right? Like in the UK. Uh-huh. So that's possible. I mean, they got all that architecture out there. So.
Gargoyles and things like that on the building would be really badass.
With Brexit, probably famine and starvation. Riots. I don't know. So.
Yeah, all the good stuff you want to see, you know? Well, so I'm excited for it. I just hope it's not another Nolan series, and I hope it's more comic booky in the sense of over the top creatures and things instead of realistic. So what I mean by that is I hope there's like an element of, and I know you hate this movie, but Suicide Squad, where there's a Killer Croc, there's Deadshot, there's that over the top comic booky people, not the plot, not the everything, just that over the top, like
all the dancing,
you know. But Harley Quinn was awesome. So she seemed like a comic book character. So, you know, and I know you hate the Joker, and I didn't. I really like Jared Leto's Joker.
I don't hate the Joker. It's just
You
that
hated
character.
Jared Leto's Joker.
I personally despise the tattoos.
I despise the tattoos as well, but I loved his over-the-top craziness, like when he shows up in the back of the plane and it's a Joker shooting a Tommy gun type gun, or I don't know guns very well because I've never really used them.
Well,
But
that's where I feel that DC is better suited to be in a not real, hybrid universe, all like the animated series, where it's one part noir and pulp mixed in with modern tech or slightly modern tech.
yeah,
Like when it's literally it's Batman down the street and he's got cell phones. It's like it's not gonna work. Like doesn't. You gotta omit a lot of logic at that point.
right.
More so than normal with the guy dressed up like a bat swinging around the rooftop. So, here's my problem with all this. Though. I don't want to be a party pooper, right?
Uh-oh.
But
But
it's 2 years away, right? It's 2
can
years.
you put some scope on that of what we might get from other things as far as 2
the
years?
entire Marvel Phase 4.
Oh my goodness.
We're gonna get the entire Marvel Phase 4 in the time it takes to make one Batman film.
That's ridiculous. We're gonna get what is it? 4 movies, 3 TV shows, an animated What If show.
Let me see.
In the time,
here. I gotta
pull.
I gotta dig this up. 'Cause the problem is it's like mixed in with all those fake ones.
Right. There's so many random ones. I know.
Plus, Google did that thing where now they make the images on the right hand side versus the top. I don't know when they fucking started that.
We might get a Blade movie made faster than we will a
That's
Batman
actually
movie.
the Blade movie will come out probably around the time this comes out. So, that's no joke. So Phase 4 is a Black Widow movie. Is in May of 2020. A Winter Soldier Falcon Winter Soldier series. Like what? 4 episodes? 8 episodes? So that's
Probably
8
8.
hours of content, right? Plus another 2.
Yeah.
That's 10 hours of content. Then you're gonna get the Eternals. That's
That's
probably
gonna be at least 2.5 hours.
right. So do the math, Brandon. That's 8 plus 2 plus 2. Probably another 2 hours with Shang-Chi, right?
14.
Then you're gonna get a series with WandaVision. It's another 10.
Yeah.
Plus Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, a movie that will be based around a multiverse.
Yes.
Then you're gonna get a Loki series at
Another 4 hours, 8 hours.
No, I was gonna say another 10. Another 10 hours. 2 times
So
8.
like 36
sorry,
hours.
8
I
hours.
think?
8 hours. Sorry. So it's 8, 1, 2. Jesus. An animated What If series that doesn't really count. It's animated. Hawkeye series. Thor. Love and Thunder. By 2020, by the time Batman comes out, how many fucking 1, 2, 3, 4 times 8 is 32, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 42 hours of content to that Batman movie.
That Batman 2-hour movie.
And look, you could say, well, Marvel's not my jam, and I get that. I would also counter, like, it's not hard to make a fucking movie based around a guy dressed up as a bat, dude. It's just not.
No.
It's actually more harder to make a bad one. Because they have to really try. I mean, look how much effort went into Batman and Robin. A lot of effort had to go into that. I mean, Justice League didn't work, but you had studio interference and an actor who didn't give a shit anymore, and not really any director. You know what I mean? So that takes a lot of effort.
Due to tragedy and
whatever, dude.
And everything else.
So
what's crazy about that is you got at the same time, like, okay, Batman was already announced. And then just now at Comic-Con, they announced Thor, Love and Thunder. That means that within the next 2 years, Marvel will have, one, brought back Jane Foster, Natalie Portman, who didn't even want to be in Marvel movies anymore, but they got her to be hyped about it. 2, they're going to make a whole nother Thor movie with a female Thor now, and that'll all come out before you can make Batman one of the most iconic characters ever.
You're not even doing the real math. The real math is simple. The last time there was a standalone Batman movie, Avengers had just come out.
Oh my goodness!
Movie. You understand what I'm saying? Like,
it's just
they've managed to reboot Spider-Man. You know what I mean? The Incredible Hulk. Do an entire Netflix universe, come and gone. 3 seasons of Daredevil. Like, all in the span of really working on that solo Batman movie. So I don't Look, dude.
It better be epic. It better be the greatest superhero movie ever.
Won't be. Look. I have no doubt. Odds are in its favor, given the talent, that it could be. That it's going to probably be fun. But I don't know. I like the actor. I like the director. I like the cinematographer. You know, but I don't know. Who
Yeah.
knows? Like, who knows? I mean, it's 2 years away, dude. Like, you know, and I'm not one of those guys that goes, man, release the Snyder because Snyder couldn't make a. Look, Snyder's version of Batman and Superman was like Heroes Reborn when Image got a hold of Captain America and Fantastic Four. You know, a lot of cross hatching, a lot of boots in your face, not a whole lot of story, right? great visuals, not a lot behind it,
Right.
but we like the artists
I
more or less.
I love the visuals of it. The story, yeah, it sucked. But I could put it on just to look at how beautiful shit is because of Larry
I
Fong
love
and
Jim Lee's Fantastic Four reboot. Not much of a story, you know.
So
So,
it's fun to look at. Can I move on to happier content? Can I move on now to something that's a little happier that people are putting out some?
I don't know. This is kind of a dour show, Randy.
I know this one just.
Let's see. So hold on. Let's see where we're at in the topic. So far, Liefeld doesn't own Youngblood anymore. Todd's doing all right with his book, but we didn't even mention Todd had a Spawn movie that ain't probably ever coming out. So
right.
So that's kind of neutral news.
Neutral.
And then Batman gets the great director of photography, but asterisk, it doesn't come out for another 2 years. Might have a whole reboot might have a whole new Star Wars trilogy starting up by the time Batman comes out.
They might reboot.
Hold on.
Aquaman by then.
Well, Wonder Woman 2 comes out next summer, so we'll see how that goes. I personally didn't care for. I won't get into it now. But, Shazam wasn't my jam, so whatever, man.
Not my jam.
And people go, I like Shazam. I'm like, look, as an adopted kid, I find the movie offensive. I'm adopted.
Are you triggered, Rob?
Yeah, I'm a trigger. Look, dude, Brandon, let me just say this about Shazam. I'm going to assume, Brandon, that you have a step parent.
Many. And I also semi-adopted in high school.
Right. So look, unless you actually go to court and get adopted, bro, you're getting adopted. So, like, here's the thing. You ever have one of those step parents call you son like the first fucking night?
Never. First name basis if I'm lucky.
Like to this day, right?
To this day.
So like Shazam, like he gets home from that, that orphanage, and they're calling him son, and like, how come you won't hug us? And they're like, it's just, I don't like it. Like, and that should be my movie. Look, an orphan kid whose mom abandoned him and becomes a superhero. Like that should be for Rob.
Right.
But look, I cannot get past that at all. Like, but that's for me. Like, I just can't do it.
Yeah. And yeah, I couldn't, I never was in your shoes. And even so, I went to live with a family in high school because my family was not great. And even then, it was known, I wasn't really a son, but they were okay with me there. But it never was like, hey, boy, it's not like that where they instantly hug. And it's like you just live with the situation you're in. You're just like, all right, this is happening. So even so, I couldn't even, for you, I know you love Shazam. I know you like the story of it. You've made some badass Shazam art that I liked a lot. And I was like, when we first saw this trailer, we were like,
years and
both
years
stoked.
Yeah. I actually pre-ordered back in the 90s the reboot. There was a Shazam reboot with the cover, was it Jerry Ordway cover?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe so.
So I was like, and I got the Mike Kunkel reboot. It was the first superhero I remember seeing because of the TV show where he drove around in Winnebago. I saw that before the Superman movie because there was no way to rent movies in 1980.
Every time I think we're not that huge of nerds, we reference some weird obscure shit, and I'm like, oh yeah.
Oh no, I have the knowledge, bro. Look, I got dumped by a girl in high school for talking too much about Superman.
Superman sucks.
Funny part is she goes to Comic-Con now. And is like, how come you don't go to Comic-Con? I'm like, you fucking dumped me for talking about Superman. Go tell everyone at Comic-Con.
It's because of the movies. It's because of the movies.
Supernatural, man. She's one of those girls, Whatever. But I got over it. I'm clearly not
Let's
bitter.
move on to some happy content. Happy content.
Superman died in the comics, and I got done. Honestly, at that point, I didn't care. I was like, I got my new Return of the Superman fucking trade paper, but I'm gonna go read that. Like, actually, that was during World. No, that was the night. Remember, Wizard magazine had a Death of Superman special.
Yep.
That's what I was reading when she called me, and I kept talking about Superman.
You know, since we're just gonna be a downtrodden, I want to go on record to say I miss Wizard, like old school Wizard, not when they turned into like movie magazine Wizard, but
they turned
like
into
old
Entertainment Weekly, and they
Yes.
put what's her face, Evangeline Lilly, on every cover. Ever. Like it used to be a running joke in the 90s that they put Wolverine on every cover. Well, it became
Right.
Evangeline Lilly, like at some point too.
Yeah, it was Wolverine and Spider-Man on the covers. But you know, they got different artists to do the covers, and you had all that cool content in that book. It was so good. And
And they were
now to bring it
gatefold
up,
covers. The covers folded out for the
yeah,
first like 25, 30 issues or something. So, but yeah, it was always like internet dude. Like it was really good like internet. It was always like pros too. Like McFarlane for the Spawn Batman. Him and Frank Miller did a Spawn Batman. Where Miller drew the Miller Batman and McFarlane drew Spawn on the cover.
right. And they even
Yeah.
had an artist that I follow to this day, Carlo Barberi. He won an art contest and then eventually got work with DC and Marvel and all of them through just their art contest. So I mean, it helped a lot of artists. You know,
Well, it
he
also had
did.
one of my favorite covers. Let me show you this right now. One of my favorite covers was Capullo did a Halloween issue with the Violators, and it's this house where they're like ripping apart all the kids are trick or treating. It's so fucking grim, dude. It's awesome. This is one of the best. It's hard. So that was one of my favorites, and then one of my favorites of there's actual line art. That's fucking dope. One of my favorite of all time was it's actually my favorite Spider-Man anything. Spider-Man Quesada did this Spider-Man. Joe Quesada did this Spider-Man cover. That's fucking this right here is my fucking jam, dude. This shit right here. I own like a bunch of these plus the poster. It folds out like this is the fold out. It's got this cool perspective. And it's got Carnage and Venom coming off. Like this is the kind of Quesada art that I miss. He don't draw like this no more.
Yeah, I owned about probably, let's say 20 to 30 issues of Wizard, and things didn't go well between me and my cousin, and he filled my boxes with water, and they all mushed together into one.
He went from this to that for Spider-Man. Like, I just don't. I don't know, guys. Rob doesn't get. Oh, look at the original inks. Oh, that's so awesome. Yeah, that's pretty fucking badass. So there was lots of J. Scott Campbell did a Spider-Man Spawn cover. That was dope. It's all pixelated right there, but you guys get the idea. There was Quesada did that Deadpool X Mutants cover. That was awesome. And then there were some covers I wasn't a big fan of. Like they did that. Fleer did that rendered over Spider-Man's art redo. I wasn't a fan.
Oh, where it's glossy or not glossy, but
Joe Mad did that cool Cyclops Gambit cover. That one's dope. My all-time favorite is the Prophet cover, where the contest was count the bullet shells. Yeah, count the bullet shells. You had to count it. It folded out. It's got Bad Rock. And speaking of Youngblood, yeah, dude, it's. I know I miss that kind of, but it's gone, Brandon. It's never coming back. That kind of art, that kind of thing. It's over.
And I mean, it was one of those things. You collected it, even for the covers. You were just like, this is. And I want to say it was probably the first 100 issues. Yeah, that Joe Mad Cyclops and Gambit cover. Oh my God, I redrew that thing like 20, 30 times. I think
one of my second favorite would be the. Let me get this. I'm going to show you guys this. I don't think it was a cover. They did it as a poster. Maybe they did it as a cover. I'm probably sitting right on my fucking shelf too.
Right.
I don't know. Let me see about Cliffhanger. I'm gonna type in Cliffhanger.
And you got to see like when Joe Mad did the Trinity, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman cover before that was even a thing. That was Back in the day.
This one right here. Oh, it's so hard to see. Let me show you. This. Let's see if this comes up.
What's the issue number?
I don't. It was. I have the issue. I don't know if it's on the cover, but it's where the debut of Cliffhanger and J. Scott Campbell drew Abby Chase and Humberto
Oh,
Ramos
yeah,
drew
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Crimson and then yeah. So it's each
That
one of those.
was, I got it right here. I had it. I
It's on
did
my
have
shelf. I'm not fucking putting my headset down to dig it out.
it. Right.
So
But they all got a turn of their character.
yeah, they all got a turn of their drawing the character, and and it kind of, in a way,
Issue 78.
it negatively affected me in some way because I was like, that's how if you're drawing Abby Chase, it should look like his art, and if you're drawing, this is what forced me to learn how to draw different styles. I know it's a bad. Meanwhile, it was a bad habit to pick up. Meanwhile, like they talk about how much of a pain it was to try and coordinate that because they had to ship the art around and everything, and
Right.
so
And then issue about
nothing else.
issue 100 was the last issue where they actually pretty much used like real art. There was a couple like painted covers after that and a couple of Ramos stuff, but after that they started using Spider-Man movie pictures and the Hobgoblins and
Yeah.
Affleck as Daredevil, and it just and they still sprinkled in some art here and there, like you'd catch a couple things, but it was few and far between.
Yeah. It was a bummer. Really bringing the show down, Brandon. It's a total 90s episode, isn't it? Like,
It is. It's very nostalgic. It's very,
like most nostalgia ends in disappointment.
Can you put my Mega Potato character with some big ass shoulder pads and?
Not this episode, but I gotta do that at some point.
Yeah. Okay, let's end it on a happy note on something content that we both enjoyed recently. Yeah.
Okay.
Epic rap battle. Put out a video. George Carlin, the comedian, versus Richard Pryor, the comedian, and it is fucking hilarious.
It's this one right here. I'm not gonna stay on it too long because I don't want their content to be fucking flagged. So,
Right.
Yeah, they did George Carlin versus Richard Pryor, and then I'm just spoilers, folks, for
Spoilers.
Epic rap battle. And then Bill Cosby shows up. And he roofies himself with chocolate pudding.
He puts himself out. He's like, I got the job.
He said, something, and I'm great. I eat MCs like the chocolate cake, like. And then he starts, and then the screen gets all wobbly. He goes, someone put something in my pudding. And he holds up a pudding cup. Oh. And then Joan Rivers shows up. And the actress that plays Joan Rivers, what's her name?
It is Jackie Ton.
Yeah, she's on Glow, right?
Yes.
She's amazing. She shows up as Joan Rivers, and first off, I'm a big Joan Rivers fan. I grew up watching when she'd come on Johnny Carson in the 80s, and I was like, now the show's funny. I didn't like the show until she showed up. So I'd follow her anywhere she went. Hollywood Squares, Joan Rivers, watching that. And then eventually she started showing up on Howard Stern, and I was older, and I was like, definitely listen to Joan today. Joan Rivers roasting people is the best. So, fucking crying shame what happened to her. That one really pissed me off. Like, I was like, I want to kill this motherfucker who basically murdered Joan Rivers. And so she shows up and she raps like in perfect Joan Rivers accent and with
facial expressions, the way her mouth moves to the side, kind of. It's so on point that you're just like, and she's good. She's good for being an actress who, some of them can sing, some of them can do things. She raps and also does Joan's voice and inflections spot on. And you're just like, yes, this is good. She owns it. She owns that whole episode. It's all her.
Well, it was supposed to originally end with just her, but then a lot of fans in the Patreon apparently said, you got to put in Robin Williams. So they ended with Robin Williams, but I still think Joan was the best on that.
Yeah. She's got the crown in that one.
And then I guess Jackie Tone, she's doing I heard she's, I don't know where I heard it, maybe on her Twitter, that she's going to play Gilda Radner If you're familiar
Oh,
with who
nice.
Gilda Radner is. Yeah, in a Gilda Radner documentary or movie or I don't know. So, rising talent. That woman, super fucking talented. Like, super good. Like that's like the best standout female rapping since did you see Mamrie Hart when she did Julia Child versus Gordon Ramsay on Epic Rap Battles?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and she nailed it too. Mamrie nailed that one.
Gilda Radner was one of the original SNL cast, right?
Yeah.
She was
Yeah.
part of the original
If you've
7.
never watched Gilda Live was they actually so it's her stand up, but they shot it on film. Looks
Uh-huh.
fantastic. Shot on film. She was such an amazing talent that when she ended up in movies, no one fucking ever let her. I don't know what it was. No one knew how to use her. She is
Uh-huh.
not ever once in a movie displaying what she can do talent wise. Like she barely even talks. Like she was in was it Women in Red? The Woman in Red with Gene Wilder. She married Gene eventually. But
Haunted Honeymoon.
dude, she's just. It breaks your heart when you realize how. If you watch Gilda Live, you're like, how did this woman not fucking become the most popular actress? I mean, she should have been. She should have been the original Ghostbuster, as far as I'm concerned. You know,
Yeah.
like she easily could have played a Ghostbuster or been Janine or what. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
something that would have showed off her talents. She could have played the Louis Tully character and would have been amazing. So, whatever. It's yeah, Gilda Live is awesome. I rewatch it every couple years, and it's awesome. So if you've never seen Gilda Live, you should definitely dig that one up. It's fucking awesome. So Jackie Tone, looking forward to that actually. Like showing my age a little bit, but who cares? I don't know. I'm not getting younger here, right, on this video podcast. So
Definitely getting better looking though. Definitely.
well. You just trying
I
to
want to
talk me
make
in.
sure. I
You
want to
try
make
to
sure
talk
I'm
me
on the
into a
next
Sizzler
cast.
dinner, huh, Brandon?
Oh yeah.
We going Sizzler,
Shoney's.
baby.
I want to go to Shoney's.
I got a Sherry's right down the street. Same logo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thing?
same. Yeah, you're
That's
good.
weird.
When you come up here, you're like, holy shit. Yeah.
Uh,
So we're at the hour mark. Is there anything else we missed? Anything else you want to bring up? Anything?
we've done this 4 times, so I'm like, I'm sure there's something I missed that I said last time, but every time it's like we've interchanged things throughout the 4 iterations. So it's like some things we didn't talk about, some things we did talk about. So
Did you see
they
Once
said
Upon a Time in Hollywood?
I did not. The missus wanted to see it, but she had to go. I don't remember what happened. We didn't get to see it.
My
She
second
wanted
favorite
to.
movie of the year. My first is Spider-Man: Far From Home, and then this. And I'm gonna go see it. I've seen it twice. I'm gonna go see it a third time. I don't care. It's too long. You guys could just regurgitate all the talking points that you've read on the internet. That I don't care. Uh, I could watch 12 more hours of just them going around 60s LA. So
Right.
the
It's very
soundtrack
stylized.
and it's not stylized. It's they recreated. No, it's the opposite of stylized. It looks like they just went back in time.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not stylized much at all. Like, there's more style in Kill Bill and Inglourious Basterds. This is probably the least stylized movie since Jackie Brown. I try to tell you, like, there's like Quentin makes 2 or 3 different kinds of Quentin Tarantino films, and this is more the Jackie Brown where there's like a loose novel-like plot, and it just lets
Uh-huh.
characters play out in scenes with dialogue that don't. They're not. It's not super plot heavy. It's more like tone and just slice of life. Like when you watch an anime they call slice of life anime, where they're just living their days.
Yeah.
You're just hanging out with them, and there's not any giant plot. It's just their days. That's what it's like to be with them.
All
It's
right.
like that, But they're really fucking cool. I could watch. It's just I wish there was like. See, he did the extended edition of the Hateful Eight on Netflix. So the
Uh-huh.
Hateful Eight was 2 hours 47 minutes, and the extended edition is a 4 hour series. So he broke it into 4 episodes, an hour each.
Oh wow.
And it's better. I like it more than the theatrical version. I still think that movie should take place in a Civil War mansion or something. It's in a 1-room cabin where people are talking as if the people next to them can't hear them,
Yeah.
which is the one thing I'm like, Quentin, I can go with you anywhere, but come on,
Yeah.
that's the one thing I have about that film. But if that took place in a mansion, because it's a whodunit, if it took place in like a burnt out, war torn mansion, like a real vile version of Clue, then I think that makes the movie, even better. But who am I to tell Quentin Tarantino how to fuck a film? You know what I'm saying? Like I'll go see anything Quentin does. I don't give a shit. So
I'll let him know on Instagram, like I let all other
he's
celebrities
not
and
on
people know.
Instagram. He doesn't even use it. I bet you he doesn't even use the phone. Funny Quentin story. The Q&A with Jeff Goldsmith put up an interview they did with him during Inglourious Bastards that they never published. And he was talking about his writing process, how he writes everything physically into notebooks, which I knew, or pads of paper. That's how I started writing. But what he does is because he has to submit a script for the studios, back in the 90s when he had to submit Reservoir Dogs and True Romance, he got a word processor, and he's had the same word processor since 1991.
Oh, wow.
It's this little LCD screen. It's got, floppy drives. And so he types it one letter at a time. And so he looks at his script, he types it one letter at a time, and his editing process, he only does this once. His editing process is simple. If he doesn't feel like typing that shit, then it's not worth being in the movie.
Oh, wow.
That's the only form of editing he has. So, fun story, right?
Oh, yeah.
He types like how I type. Do, 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 like the little bird on The Simpsons.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah, hits the button. All right, so that's it. That's all we got today. Brandon, we should be back. Well, we're going to be back this week, actually. We're going to be talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time versus Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and the Hyperstone Heist, because I want to do something with Megavisions and Game Cave around it, and I don't feel like typing that shit up. So we're just going to talk about it, and I'm just going to type out our conversation as the review. So,
sounds about right.
So if you want to hang out and argue about TMNT, join us, and that one we'll probably do live, so we can get some live feedback from people.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll do that then. Brandon, is there anything else?
Make sure you follow me on Instagram at Mega Potato Show. I don't post anything, but you can follow me.
All right, that's it. We're going to head out of here. Say goodbye, Brandon.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Shop SketchCraft.com.